nowadays, and so I am not jump.
Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Yes, the TTPS is here on Now in the form of Inspector Michelle Lewis. Good morning to you, Inspector.
Good morning to you both, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago.
How are you doing this morning?
We are good. We are in
The
good
Carnival is
position.
over, Inspector.
Oh gosh.
It is over, and all reports and all indicators says that we had a successful Carnival in terms of minimum crime, very, very minimum. But it took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of hard work. It actually started from Christmas, going straight into Carnival, because this year we had a really short Carnival season. And so all the divisional commanders from Christmas started with a strategic plan that we rolled into Carnival with some tweeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really want to say thanks to all the stakeholders. It could not have been done without the support of the Defence Force, the transit officers, the municipal police, the transit officers, the traffic wardens, and of course all of TTPS.
Big collaborative efforts.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm really curious as to what are some of the detailed things that would have happened that you can say the TTPS is credited as being that reason that we had a reduction in crime.
One of the things that we started with early on this year is putting out a lot of safety tips, generally speaking, on all aspects of your personal safety, to guide and to help generally members of the public and visitors to what to look for, what to do, what not to do, to help to reduce crime, and it worked. So we saw, for example, even for this year, from January and February, we saw a reduction in stolen vehicles. So that is an indicator that some of the things that we did and some of the safety that we shared worked. We also heard from the Minister of Tourism that all the hotels and everything were booked. So we know it is not because of less people in the country.
Right.
We know that the data is actually that there was a reduction.
So there was a reduction, of course, in crime throughout Carnival, which is fantastic. But one of the things that we tend to focus on particularly is with Carnival, you think about crime on the streets itself.
Right.
You don't necessarily think of things that are happening outside, let's say, in other areas where there aren't festivities. How well was that managed and how successful was that?
Well, you say areas in Trinidad where there are no festivities.
You know, such as residential areas where people have left their homes, gone out to play mass and so forth. Did you see any sort of decrease in break-ins and that sort of thing?
So generally throughout Trinidad and Tobago, what the TTPS is seeing is more community-based carnival taking place, specifically with the Juve. So in areas like Barbacoa, Cedros, of course, San Rafael, and certain areas, it's huge. It's bigger than Port of Spain. So we cannot say as an organization that we're seeing less of it because of, we're just seeing a movement of persons from one area instead of coming into Port of Spain, staying in their community area. In doing so, of course, they're closer to home. You're not away from home as much as you would to, perhaps allow for something to happen. We have seen where the police officers have been in the areas doing the patrols, both on plain clothes and uniform, and that has assisted. We have seen some incidents, but we cannot say that it is specific to Carnival, because generally there are incidents that occur.
Of course.
Most definitely. I want you to give us a little bit more in terms of, you mentioned the Carnival tips as one of the things that you all would have done in order to reduce crime. What else did the TTPS do?
Of course, we had the Group Commander, Mr. Kelvin Thompson, and his alternate, Mr. Maraj. And of course, they worked with all stakeholders. So you saw where we had TSCT, TNTech, WASA, and all the other agencies on board. So where there was any type of disruption, you had all these stakeholders. You also had the corporations assisting as well. So where Trinidad and Tobago Police Service didn't have the resources, we ensured that the supporting agencies were there to give that support. Carnival Friday, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the Defence Force and Transit as well, we got some new vehicles, so that would have assisted us in relation to mobility in the streets and in community areas and that kind of thing. So with all that has happened, we have seen that the efforts of the Commissioner of Police, the executive, and all other stakeholders have really worked well for us. We actually had this year, and I had the pleasure and the duty of being with the Group Commander and the Commissioner of Police throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And we visited Barrackpore. That is an area that the officers have indicated they've not seen a commissioner of police down on that side before. So emphasis has always been placed on Port of Spain because it is a city. So we had divisional commanders in Port of Spain and other divisions, but we also saw the senior officer, the commissioner of police, going into rural areas to visit the officers, to give them that support and to give the community that type of support as well, because we have seen instances of homicides taking place in Southern, Southwestern Division, and so to give that level of support to the community and to the officers, we saw that shifting in the TTPS.
This is good to hear. Now, no doubt, of course, visibility is something that is critical to getting that continued support, which is so important as well. Is this something that we can look forward to in the future?
So we're going now into the Easter period. We continue, the Trinidad and Tobago Police, we continue our trend in relation to stakeholders partnership. We continue to have our police youth clubs to engage young people because the issue of crime and gang violence is still very relevant. And we're also seeing, of course, through town meetings that the concerns that residents are bringing, that the officers are dealing with it, their treatment and giving persons feedback. And that is really assisting us in relation to building that relationship. So you're actually seeing the senior soups taking that recording that we would have done, reviewing it, and tackling each situation and going back into the communities and letting them know that we have, you may not see it in the public, but it is really building that relationship.
But I mean, I think that's part of the reason why you're here, to be able to share some of that information. I'm really curious as to what some of the feedback that you get from the communities are, what some of the challenges that they're facing.
Within the town meetings?
Yeah.
So, for example, they may indicate some things that I won't say on air, and some things they will actually talk to the senior officer side and let them know. Some residents will also indicate that they have observed a certain area, certain street, and certain activities taking place, and they'd like the police to make mention of it.
Right.
They'd like the police to treat it.
Do something about it.
Right. So we would see that. We have also seen, because I do attend some of the town meetings as well, where we would have seen, for example, in a particular community where some years ago, it had instances of incest and a lot of persons having relationships with persons, and most of the people in the area are related in some way. And so at a particular time, you start seeing a shift where there was some gang relation taking place, but it really wasn't gang activities, really because of the disparity in this brother and this father and that. And so we now have to look at another type of intervention to treat that, because it is not as gang related as one may think.
Interesting.
It is more, social and domestic. So it's really diverse. The TTPS, we really have we really do see a lot of different instances outside of what you may call mainstream criminal offenses, and have to look at it. So we'll have victim and witness coming in.
Isn't it all social though?
It is, when you look at it really, it will stem from family. It will stem from family, because that is what gang leaders do. They provide
a family.
Of sort.
Of sort, yes. Okay, so I'm interested in these town meetings you mentioned specifically. Is this chaired by the TTPS?
Yes, it is.
And this is an ongoing initiative?
Yes, it is.
So where can we access more information to know when the TTPS is coming to our area?
Generally, we post it up on our Facebook page. For example, this Wednesday, the Malabar community, the Malabar Police having their town meeting from 6 p.m. at the Phase 4 Malabar Community Center.
Nice.
So I will be there, the Malabar Police Youth Club will be there, the senior officers in the division will also be there.
Nice. And I appreciate you sharing that with us this morning, because I think that, we could just keep the updates coming when it comes to where people can access that information, where they can go to these town meetings and be a part of the conversation and help their community and be able to help the police to help their community as well. Yeah. So thank you very much for sharing that this morning, Inspector.
It's of course our pleasure to be here. We continue to encourage members of the public, if you see something, to
say something.
Keep helping us, and we will have a better Trinidad and Tobago as we work together.
Most definitely. All right. Well, Inspector, let me say thank you very much for joining us this morning, as per usual, and thank you for sharing the information as well. We'll take a quick break and we come back with more inside the Now Morning Show. Inspector Michelle Lewis from TTPS just thanking everybody for a safe, successful carnival. We give thanks and praises. Take a break and come back with more.